Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, depending on where you are joining us from. You are welcome to the HR Roundtable, your most authoritative HR chat room online, proudly brought to you by the HR Certification Center. My name is Kwabena Nyamiche Dapa. I am the marketing manager at the HR Certification Center, and I will be your host for today's event. Let me quickly say a happy International HR Day to all HRs who are joining us and any HR who will listen to this telecast. Happy International HR Day. We do celebrate you. We thank you for all that you do, and we thank you for making our workplaces habitable and enjoyable. I mean, most of us will spend a lot of time at work, even than we spend at home. So, and the HRs are the ones who make the place habitable for us. So, a big Aiko to you. In Ghana, we would say Aiko, congratulations. Right. So I want to know who is joining us. So kindly drop a comment in the comment section. You can just mention your name. Probably I'm Hannah joining from Cameroon, or I am Kojo joining from Obuasi, or I am Emisa joining from the joining from Central Region, or I am Kojovi joining from the Volta region. So let's know who we have online before we quickly start off today's discussion. As I said, the HR Roundtable is proudly brought to you by the HR Certification Center, and this is our contribution to the HR fraternity. Thank you all for joining in. I'll be looking forward to hearing who is with us today in the comment section. Also, take note that you can put your remarks, your questions in the comment section, and I will do well to read them out to everyone's hearing. This is going to be a very interactive conversation, as we always do it. So do well to be dropping your questions and your remarks. Today is a special one. We normally have our conversations on Thursdays. Indeed, on Thursday we had one where we spoke on employee loyalty, but today we are crowning it with another special one because today is a special day, as you all know, International HR Day. So as we will do on Mother's Day, we'll call all the mothers in our life and wish them. So today, call an HR in your department or call an HR in your company and wish them a happy HR day. Right, let me see. I have Bennett from Accra. Thank you, Bennett, for joining. I have Hannah Bar joining from Ankase in Komenda Edina Egwafu Ebrim Municipality. Hannah, you are very detailed. Thank you for that. I have okay, say Matilda from Dansoman. I have Mabel from Accra. I have Adam Ahmed joining from Yendi in the northern region of Ghana. Thank God for internet. We are just sitting in Accra. We are able to reach people across the globe. Josephine from Takrade, thank you for joining, Josephine. Now, today, as I said, is International HR Day, and this year the theme is HR shaping the new future. Indeed, last year was HR shaping the new future, but this year, with focus on four key areas, we are looking at having a trust culture in the workplace. We are looking at equality, diversity, and inclusion. We are looking at well-being and work-life balance, and we are looking at sustainable work. Now, joining me in this discussion is two astute HR practitioners, and they have a vast amount of experience when it comes to the practice of HR. And let me start with the gentleman first. They say ladies first, but I'll start with the gentleman first. Let me break a rule. So he's currently the HR manager at Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. He has over 15 years of working experience in human resources. He has worked for companies like Coca-Cola Bottling Company and Guinness Ghana Breweries. He believes in constantly engaging employees at different levels of leadership to enhance capital for organizational effectiveness. We have none other than the HR at the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Williams Techi. Williams, thank you for joining in.
Thank you very much, Karbina.
Super. Also, we have a human resource manager for Vivo Energy Ghana. She has over 25 years experience in human resources, marketing, and change management. She has worked in institutions such as Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, International Commercial Bank, and Guinness Ghana Breweries Limited. She's thorough in executing her assignment and applies high standard of her work. She is authentic and she has the ability to build great relationship with those she works with and to manage teams for success. Help me welcome Mercy Amoir.
Thank you very much, Kwabena, for your
Super.
kind words.
Super. I'm very happy having both of you here. I've been having conversations with Mercy and Williams, and I'm sure our guests are going to attest that you people are practical with the practice of HR, and your years of experience is going to show forth. Let me get opening remarks from Mercy.
Okay. I'm very happy to join this interaction, and I know I'm going to learn a lot from our listeners, and whatever I have to impact, why not? But the most important thing is that it's going to be a learning experience for me as well. And I'm very excited to be on this platform. So thank you, Kwabena, for reaching out to me and asking me to be part of this program.
Great. Thank you too for showing up, Mercy. Williams, let's get your opening remarks.
And thank you, Karbina, and thank you, Mercy, for your remarks. I think I'm most excited to be here. It's always a joy to be in this kind of conversation with practitioners. It's a platform that you end up learning, and also I think that's what I'm actually going to. I want to get at the end of the day. I believe that what we're going to engage in will enrich my experience as well at the end of the day. And let me also take this opportunity to wish everyone here a happy HR's Day.
Great. Thank you very much, Williams, and thank you very much, Mercy. So let's go right into it. Today we are speaking about HR shaping the new future, and we are looking at there are four key areas that I mentioned. So let me start with Williams. Williams, what are the elements in a business that constitute to building a culture of trust?
Okay, thank you, Karbina, and then thank you to Mercy for coming as well. Hello to viewers, our listeners, wherever you are. When it comes to elements in business that contribute to culture of trust, there are many and varying, Karbina. I know practitioners will agree with me that to start with, the relationship we have in the workplace, is one that has been triggered by our contract of employment. As soon as you engage in any contract of employment with any employer, then you have agreed to enter into some kind of engagement or some kind of relationship, just like you go into marriage. And it is important that for you to ensure that this kind of relationship, thrives on, it must have certain fundamental elements that will nurture it, that will let it grow, so that whatever you aspire to see at the end of the day, you can really see it, measure it, and then be able to tell yourself that indeed the relationship was worth it. So coming back into the elements, I think one key thing in every kind of relationship, employment relationship for that matter, is transparency. Right from the point of even going into the market to look for somebody who can fit into a role in your organization, you are looking for someone who can probably live the values of your organization. And I know in most organizations, they are looking for people who are transparent, people who can be probably fair to whatever they're going to do, to ensure that once they come in and they work, the bottom line will see some kind of positive shift. You don't want to bring in someone who will come in and then everything that you built over many years will go down. So I think that key element, transparency is key. Fairness is also key to build trust, and then being approachable. For example, I recall in one of my engagements, we're trying to get somebody on board, and as part of the pre processes, we needed to call someone. We called the person telephone. The telephone manners alone was one of the things that probably I did not know that the person was so much into it. The person marked and said that the fact that you were so respectful and you took your time to listen to me and engage me on exactly what the role is about, I'm happy to be part of this conversation. So these are some of the things that I think right from that point, we can build into the trust culture in the organization.
Great. So transparency, fairness, and being approachable. Thank you. Mercy, what would you say are the elements that build that trust culture in the workplace?
Very well. Building upon what Williams has said, I'll start with values. Every organization have their value. For instance, in Vivo Energy, we say our values are honesty, integrity, respect for people. Now, how do we live these values?
Mm,
So it starts with modeling the behaviors that you want to see. If you tell your employees that these are your values and they don't see the leaders living the values,
mm,
trust will be an issue. Now, the
true.
second thing that I want to touch on is being deliberate about building that culture of trust. What are some of
Mm,
the things that we can do to show that we are deliberately building a culture of trust? Um, Listening more.
yeah.
How do we listen? Soliciting and acting on feedback. Do we do surveys, periodic checks? What are people saying? What are they feeling? And when they talk to us, do we act on that feedback? And
Mm,
then empowering people. Do not micromanage. The moment you begin to micromanage me, you are telling me that you can't trust that I can do the work.
mm,
Once you give me that opportunity to give off my best, you are telling me that I trust you, Mercy. I know you can do your work. So
right.
I always say that we should not be seen as looking for opportunities to catch and punish, but we should look for opportunities to coach and develop.
Mm,
So living our values, soliciting feedback, listening to people, being genuine and authentic. Can
mm,
employees feel that genuineness as soon as you start to engage with them or when you start to speak with them? And then another key thing that stands out for me is creating an inclusive culture.
mm,
Do I feel that I also belong here? Once I can trust you to let me feel a sense of belonging, I guess gradually you'll be able to build that culture of trust to get everybody to be engaged and happy to work with you.
mm, mm. Super. I like what you said. We shouldn't ask to catch and punish, but to
Mhm.
coach and develop. This is
Exactly.
this is very important. I wish people would just tweet this on Twitter and just
Yeah.
tag someone and just
Yeah.
use the hashtag International HR Day. So we shouldn't catch and punish, but rather coach and develop in order to
Yeah.
create that atmosphere of of trust in the
Of
workplace.
trust.
But
Exactly.
more to this, I from both of you, from Williams, from Mercy, I realized that the things that need to be done to build culture in the department, it seems everyone is part of this. And I want to ask from your experience, do you think that building culture should only sit with HR, or it should be something that should be across the workspace? Everybody should get involved. Let me start with Mercy.
Okay, so I would say that HR alone will not be able to champion that trust. It's
Mm,
because line managers are closer to employees and HRs. And
mm,
so it's very, very important to build the capabilities of our line managers so that they will be the ones to manage people in such a way that they feel that they are valued both professionally and emotionally. And so
mm.
there's something that I strongly believe in, and that is what we call the line manager capability building series. We
Okay.
have this series that we've been running, especially in my organization, where the moment you become a line manager, we run you through a certain capability building program. It takes time. There are such courses like line manager as a coach, line
Mm,
manager giving feedback, how line manager should manage talent. A lot of series. You have about 8 of them, and so you will, by that, empower the line managers to be able to help you to build that culture of trust. HR can never do that alone.
mm,
Build the capability of line managers. Let them know from day one what you want to see. So you will set the agenda for them and you train them to be able to live this agenda and help you build a culture of trust in the workplace.
Mm, mm. So, Williams, how have you also been doing it? I mean, over your years of experience, how have you been involving line managers to make sure that the culture of trust is really built in the business?
Okay, thank you, Kobina. And then building on from where Mercy ended, it's everyone's business. It's
Mm,
everyone's business in there. Building trust, building this whole cultural thing does not sit with only HR. In organizations where I mean, my place, for example, we have the union as well as integral
mm,
part of our social partners, and they are ones that, apart from the line managers, you also need to engage to ensure that they also understand what is in the cultural shift, so that they can also drive this together with you. Because if you go deep down from the union hierarchy, from the
mm.
chairman down to the executives to the shop stewards, for example. These are
Yeah.
people who have been elected into office by their constituents, if you like. And
Mm,
so when you want to reach out to the very core of the various unionized employees, we also use them. And just like Messi mentioned, we have courses that we run through with line managers, with union executives, with union shop stewards, and even from the board where I work, the board is highly engaged in these
mm,
kind of things because they need to provide direction and leadership so that they can support how how the business is running and the dimensions and the depth and breadth of the business where we are moving into. They need to understand and appreciate the kind of work we are doing. So if they come and something is going on in the business, they wouldn't
mm,
say that, oh, we don't know what is going on, and therefore we really cannot support you. The board is
mm.
part of it. Top management, top executives, everyone is in there. To the directors, to the line managers, to the union executives, and everybody is in there. Even if you have
Yeah.
contract, your onboarding process, you build it into it, and that's what we've been doing. From the national service level, anyone who is coming in, because you are going to be integral parts of the business, whether you are a contract staff, a national service person, you never know. Sometimes they serve
Yeah.
as the talent pool. So when you catch them young in that area and you indoctrinate their
Yeah.
mindset, they are able to, become the kind of pipeline you probably need to feed, into your mainstream business. And so
Mm,
for us, it's everybody. We make sure we bring everybody on board through staff development, through deliberate, actions that you put in place to ensure that line managers and the union
mm.
executives are well trained to be able
Wow.
to expedite these kind of things. That's what we do.
Great, great. So, from what both of you are saying, I hear you say the building the culture of trust has to be a deliberate action. It shouldn't just be left to chance. And in as much as everyone is involved, HR should be the one spearheading these things. So,
That's right.
th- great, great. Moving on. Nowadays, I always tell people that the advent of COVID has really changed the workspace as we used to know it. It has changed the socioeconomic factors. It has changed how people do business and all that. Now we have people who want to start their own businesses, run their own businesses. They have their own mindset. And as an HR, as a professional person doing professional work, when you find yourself in a business where you have the founding CEO working, or I'm trying to talk about trends or the culture in the business. Should it be the prerogative of the founding CEO to drive how culture should be, or should it be trends, industry trends, which drive how culture should be, or should it be um so the owner's philosophy or so I've spoken about owner's philosophy, I've spoken about industry trends, or should it be the professional direction of the HR manager? Let me start with Mercy.
Very interesting question. Now, if you go back one step to what William just described about the process they go through, union, everybody, it tells you that building a culture takes time.
Mm,
And so changing an organization's culture is a large scale undertaking.
mm,
It involves strategic direction, it involves planning, it involves starting from the top. Remember, he mentioned the board, starting from the
Yes.
top, cascading down to the bottom, or cascading down to everyone in the organization. And
Mm.
if you close your eyes for a moment and you imagine this, you cannot just get up and quickly change your culture. You know,
Mm.
you must be something significant is what should get you to want to change your culture. So, what are some of the significant things we can talk about? For instance, disruptions. We were all here when COVID was slapped in our faces. It brought
Mm.
about a lot of disruptions. Now we
Yes.
have policies such as flexible working hours, etc., thanks to COVID. Now,
Mm.
another major disruption that can occur, or we don't call that disruption, we call it a new trend, AI, for instance,
Yeah.
is beginning to come in. It may call for a change in culture. You can also talk about, let's say, overnight, everybody is leaving your organization, resigning and leaving en masse. You
Mm.
do a stop and think, what is happening? So this is just to say that it takes a lot of time, consistency, effort, money to build a culture. And so you can't just get up and quickly change your culture. It has to be as a result of something hugely significant
Mm.
that will impact your bottom line, that will impact behaviors that can lead you to want to change your culture. So it's not about an individual's philosophy gets up one day and says, "This is what I want," and so overnight we are
Yeah.
going to change culture. No,
Yeah.
in my experience, I don't think that is what I'll advocate for.
But let me throw this question again to you. So, as an HR, you are working for a company where the founding CEO has a very strong approach towards certain things. And per your experience, you know that these things are not going to augur well for the business. How then do you put it in a professional way to make sure that the right things are being done?
Okay, so you are putting me on the spot here. Yes, um, where I work, for instance, HR is in the boardroom.
Mm.
Um, and we have our periodic management meetings and voices are heard and all that.
Mm.
We have our strategic directions. We do our strategy, and it's not top down. We come together and then we decide what is the strategic direction for the company, and then we put together our plan. Now,
Yes.
should an individual who happens to own the organization decide that this is the direction we should go, now, I probably he has reasons for wanting, he or she have reasons for wanting to say we should go this direction or go that direction. Now,
Mm.
if it doesn't sit well with me, and I think it is something that will not augur well for the organization, what do
Mm.
I do? As an individual with a conscience, I may decide that probably I may not want to be part of this organization. If it's something
Mm.
very significant and I know and believe that this is something that might impact us adversely, and
Mm.
probably my colleagues in the boardroom also think that no, this might not impact us well. Um, what do I do? I think I'm a free moral agent. I may decide that I may not want to be part of this organization.
Mm. Mm. Wow. Wow. I think that is one of the tough decisions that we have to
Yeah,
take as professionals
yeah.
if we have to drive proper HR practices where we work. Before I get to Williams, yeah, if you just joined us, this is the HR Roundtable, probably brought to you by the HR Certification Center. And we have been speaking on HR shaping the new future. And our focus has been a bit on culture for the past, I think, 20 minutes. And we are going to look at also equality, diversity, and inclusion, work-life balance, and we're going to look at sustainable work. So if you just joined us, this is the HR Roundtable, and please do well to drop a comment in the comment section. Let's hear from you. Let's get your remarks. When if something is said that hits you, you can just put it right there or tweet it. Add the hashtag International HR Day or hashtag HRCC. And if you have any questions as well, kindly do well to drop them in the comment section so that we get interactive. So, Williams, let me hear from you too. I mean, these three proponents that I mentioned, how do they feed into developing a culture of trust in the business?
Okay, so thank you, Kobna. And to take it from where Mercy ended, should culture change based on the fact that maybe employees are calling for it, or based on the owner's philosophy, or maybe industry trends. It
Mm,
depends. Um, I mentioned earlier, if you have where I am, we allow everyone. I mean, we have a very open, dot system where
mm,
everybody can, make a suggestion. And every year we have a roundtable strategic meeting from the board to through the union to various associations, directors, and then we all discuss about the business. Now, if the industry I find myself, things change almost every day. New
mm,
directions are coming. And when these things happen, they trickle down to everyone, from legal to human resource to finance and everything. Now, if we meet, and which involves everyone anyway, from the staff through the CEO to industry practitioners, for example, governance experts. And we think that it's important that this element of our culture, because of this change that is
mm,
being asked for in the international, arena, we need to tweak, we need to make these changes to our strategy. And once you change your strategy, Kwabena, you know very well, once you change your strategy, you are calling for a change in behavior. And that means
yes.
that you need to have a change, a deliberate, change management program to ensure that everybody is in line, because you're not
Yeah.
going to be driven by a new agenda, a new objective, which means
Mm,
that everybody must come on board. So, yes, it depends on what is happening. But owner's philosophy, if it is he's passionate about it and it is going to influence the bottom line, I think that the key word here is that any change, any um, cultural change that you wish to have, you will need to ask yourself, is it going to have a positive impact on your bottom
yeah.
line? If it is not going to, then it's going to be a normal, decoration. And I don't think that
Yeah.
any business that wants to probably continue in business and then ensure that it can pay salaries every month want to just do decorations. No,
Yeah.
you want to
Mm,
make sure that whatever change you are having is going to have a positive impact on your bottom line,
bottom
and that
line.
you can continue to run and then operate as a business. So we operate that open door policy. We
Mm,
ensure that everyone brings his ideas and thoughts on board, and then we
yeah.
evaluate and make sure we drive that change with that kind
Mm.
of system. Yes.
I think our 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 opinions on this leads me directly into the right question. I mean, the next question about diversity and inclusion.
Mm.
Let me start with Mercy. Mercy, how do you practically create that space or that place of inclusion? Seeing how diversified the workspace has become. I mean, the technology and I mean the world, we have all known the world to be a global village, but I think today it's closer than even a global village. I know people are even employed, they are in Ghana, but they have been employed by companies in Nigeria, in Canada, all over,
Mm.
and you are dealing with people from diverse walks of life. How do you create that environment of inclusion given their diversity?
Okay. So let's think about it in this way. Diversity has resulted in a situation where everybody is coming in, no matter their orientation, age, religious background. So it's like all of us have been invited to the party.
Yeah.
And when we got to the party, you are asking Williams and Kwabna not to dance. Only
Mm,
Mercy, Mary, Abena should dance. So immediately there will be a problem. So
mm,
I see it as we all have been invited to the party. All of us are going to dance. That is diversity and inclusiveness. So what are some of the practical things we can do? It starts with the process of hiring. For instance, Williams will confirm to you that these days we don't ask questions. No, we've even stopped asking those questions a long time ago.
mm,
How old are you? What those personal questions, we don't ask them anymore. So the
yeah.
process of hiring should be inclusive. Then two, we must use inclusive language.
Okay.
Don't use language that will get some people to think that they have been left out. And then we must be open to feedback. Do you listen
Mm,
to these people and don't listen to that people? Everybody must be free. Open door policy, first name, and feel free. Walk up to. We even have a situation in people where you can even walk up to the MD's office. As long as
mm,
he's not busy, he'll sit down with you and he'll have a chat with you. Then
yeah.
let's have team building events, for instance. I was telling you some time ago that was it last year or
Mm-hmm.
so we went mountain climbing,
Wow.
and the decision to go mountain climbing was even voted. We
I
wrote to
see.
staff and said we want to do a team building exercise. What should we do?
Hmm.
And some people suggested, and those who did suggest we should go mountain climbing were more. And so there was
Do
a
you have
vote.
a lot? Do you have a lot of young people in your organization?
Yes, we do.
Uh-huh. That's why they'll be going mountain climbing.
Okay. Then another thing that I can talk about is value everyone's opinion.
Hmm.
You know, when people speak, let them feel valued. And so when you do these things and then add onto it the deliberate attempt to do diversity training,
Hmm.
let there be in your policy things around this, and policies should be open on the shared drive, everybody to see that there's a non-discriminatory policy, and anybody who is found culpable will be punished. And so
Hmm.
when you do some of this, and I'm sure Williams will add on from his experience as well, people will feel that yes, they are valued, they belong to the
Yeah.
organization like everyone else.
Oh, great, great. I like what you said about inclusive language. I
Yeah.
mean, from what that you're saying, I can see that we really have to be deliberate if we want to make the workspace more habitable than we found it.
Yeah.
And how you even explain diversity and inclusion is inviting people to the party and allowing them to dance. That's interesting. So if you invite someone to the party and don't allow the person to dance, it means you are not accepting their diversity.
Exactly. So
Uh,
no, let me do a quick change. Inviting everybody to the party and allowing only a few to dance and others not
mhm.
to dance.
At the
That's it.
expense of the others.
Exactly. So everybody should come to the party. Everybody should dance.
Right, right. Whichever dance skill that you have, just bring it on. As
Exactly.
long as you can dance.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great, great, great. Williams, let's hear from you too.
Yes, and I think we have something similar when it comes to diversity and inclusion.
Mm,
Ours goes all the way, even onto to the point that when the people even retire,
yeah.
we still have a huge connection, huge engagement with
Mm,
everyone who has passed through our organization, and therefore, once the people come in, they know that we do not discriminate, and everyone is called on board anytime we are having some of these discussions. So I think
mm,
the key thing is that, um, like Mercy mentioned, education is key,
yeah.
right from the very top. Sometimes you are tempted to think that board, would not be part of some of these things, but they are highly engaged in some of these conversations. In my
Mm,
place, for example, ensuring that even in our objectives, when we go for strategic meetings, it is mentioned. We want to find out how are you measuring your diversity and inclusion? How are
mm,
you ensuring that everyone? Because look at the country we find ourselves in. We are highly diversified. The
Mhm.
highly.
age, through ethnic
Yeah.
background, through
Yeah.
religious background,
Languages.
languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are highly, diversified in that respect. And so
Mm,
when we are even doing going through our hiring processes, we tell
mm,
people the language you must use must be such that it's very, very inclusive.
mm,
This place is not for anybody. It is for all of us,
yeah.
and all of us are Ghanaians. And
Yeah.
right from orientation, and like I mentioned before, right from the orientation, we make these things known to people that
Mm,
these are things that you cannot say against your fellow Ghanaian and against
mm,
your fellow human being. If you are a
yeah.
queen mother, if you are a king in your village and
Where
you've
you
come
come
here,
from, yeah.
exactly, all of us are one. We have to
Mm,
make sure that we accept everyone, we embrace everyone, and that we talk to each one with respect. So respect is one of the things that you also we want to talk about,
mm,
ensuring that we respect each and every person.
yeah.
In my workplace, we have not. If you come and the cafeteria, we have not said that this place is for managers and that place is for
Mm,
permanent staff or that place is for contract. No, 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 no. Everybody eats from the same place. The lift is for everybody. When once you press it and everybody goes together. The washroom, we have not separated anyone. Everyone is equally treated, and so there is no washroom for you know contract staff, and everyone is using the same thing that we all
Yeah.
the same thing. It's
yeah.
the chairs that we use, the chair I use, for example, is the same thing
Mm-hmm.
that my colleagues are using, whether you are a contract staff or you are a permanent staff. So
Hmm.
we have made the environment such welcoming that once you
Yeah.
come in there, you feel very inclusive, you feel very welcomed, and you are
Hmm.
willing. Like I said, it's a relationship, and these are some of the things that will nurture it for you to really have a positive shift to your bottom line. And so these
Wow.
things, once they don't go on well, I can tell you, Kwabena, like the labor law says that people will work with their conscience. They will be sitting quietly, but then they are standing up in their spirit.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll be
Yeah.
using your internet to apply for another job.
Fantastic.
As little as these things sound, I mean, when you even spoke of the chair, sometimes you can see some chairs and how they've been arranged. One looks like a palanquin, and one looks as small as a stool, and you can see that this one, there are grades in it, and those little things really affect how people feel accepted to
Very
dance
well.
at the party.
Very
So
well.
before I go on to the comment section to hear what our listeners are saying, let's take a quick word from our sponsors, the HR Certification Center.
Are you an HR practitioner or a graduate in any field that wishes to become an HR practitioner? Professional certification is a demonstration of your competence, commitment to excellence, and higher professional standards. Getting certified as a professional in Human Resources International makes you recognized by employers and industry players as a competent professional with key expertise to respond to all key technical issues pertaining to people management for organizational growth. Take the next big step in your career and the Global Professional HR certification in 6 months. Weekend tuition only. Physical and online options available. Contact the approved provider of the Global Professional HR certifications in Ghana, the HR Certification Center, to sign up. Call or WhatsApp for details 0244 822 855. The number again is 0244 822 855. You may visit www.phrglobal.com.
Right. Thank you very much for staying tuned in. We are back, and I'll quickly go to the comment section to hear what our listeners are saying. I have Lucky here. Lucky says it's from Achimota, Accra. Komla from the Volta region. I have Philomena, Jenny from Sunyane. I have Mildred. Lucy says awesome points by both speakers. Raymond says hashtag HRCC. Please let's get the hashtag rolling. Any phenomenal thing that you have learned today, you can just write it and add the hashtag HRCC, the hashtag International HR Day. Bennett says, that's my boss right there, William Techi. Happy International HR Day. Lucky again says, I'm really learning. God bless you for this program. I have Lucy here say, glad I joined. And Henrietta is saying, we are learning. Henrietta again says that Mr. Techi all the way. Congratulations. Thank you very much for joining in. Let's keep the conversations running in the chat box. If you have any questions, to kindly bring up the questions, and I know my panelists are poised to give you direction. I always tell people that when we come to these programs, right now we have about 35 or close to 40 years lamped up, close to 40 years experience lamped up in just an hour. And they are teaching us things they have learned over the years. As simple as they may sound, these are things they have learned, tried, and tested. So you are at a good place. Do what to invite someone, share the link to anyone who should hear or listen to this conversation. And another one from our sponsor is the HR Certification Center. If you want to know more about our international HR certification programs, today we'll be having an information session where we'll be speaking about all these programs. Kindly check in the comment section. You have shared the link there. You can just click on it. At exactly 5 p.m., we'll be live to speak about our global HR or international HR certifications. Let's go right into it now. We've spoken about culture, we've spoken about inclusion and diversity, and I think it's time that we speak about well-being at work. Now, how can HRs help employees emotionally and mentally stay connected at work? So how can HRs help their colleagues, their employees stay emotionally and mentally connected at work? Let me start with Williams.
Okay, thank you, Kwabena. And let me start off by saying that when it comes to emotional and mental well-being, it starts with again the relationship. You have brought in people who you need to nurture to ensure that they are progressing in terms of their work, and you are not only looking at their functional capabilities, you're also looking at their well-being. And so, one of the key things we have in place is we have seeded some hospitals across the country wherever our employees are. Because sometimes some of the things may even come up and you will not be there. So we have hospitals that we have actually spread across the country that our employees can attend. Not only them, we also have eye clinics, we have pharmacies, we have other specialists who probably, if you have a mental issue, for example, you want to talk to somebody in private, you can do that. One of these hospitals, they all have them. We also take care of the employee, because one of the things is that, Kwabena, if the employees are working and they are at work and their families are not in the right frame of mind, they cannot be in the right frame of mind to do the work.
That's
so, for
true.
example, if the family is not well, wife is not well, daughter is not well, how can the employee be able to have the right frame of mind to be able to execute? So we stretch it beyond the employee and we take care of their families. Make sure that the things that will put stress on you, which is one, if you look at our country, probably the medical and all of that, sometimes they take a bit of money from you. So the business also have put in place a policy to make sure that that headache is taken off you. And these are some of the things that emotionally, if you are affected, if you get up and then you are called that, William, your wife is not well, I will not be bothered, because I know once she is rushed to any hospital, my business will take care of it. So we have put in place some of these things to ensure that we take off that burden from the employee, and then the employer is making sure and so HR has a policy, deliberate policy, to make sure these things are done. It's not only for them, for contract staff, for national service, interns. Once you come in, it is our responsibility, because that is where the whole problem starts from. Yeah. So maybe Mercy can take over from here.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. Those who work, I'm sure those who work with you are very appreciative, and they have their mind on the job. Mercy, let's hear from you too.
All the time. And I think that anytime we had done surveys, is one of the areas that we score, the highest, because you realize that if it wasn't for that, people were going to be in distress, and distress will then, lead to probably stress moments, off time, off work, and all the time, and then that will be affecting your job. At the end of the day, the business will be shifting. Bottom line is changing, because people are not on duty, they are taking care of their families, but we have made this provision, so you take up that burden, and then your business also runs.
Great. I'm clapping for you. Okay, Mercy, let's hear from you too.
Okay, so I believe that it starts with having a mental health and wellness benefit in place. So this is a new thing, and that is beginning to emerge. It's something that we don't like talking about, mental wellness. And so the benefit must be in place. For instance, in Vivo Energy, we have an employee assistance program in place, and it is managed for us by a workplace options WPO, where an individual can call a toll-free number, share whatever your problem is. They'll find you the solution, and it is anonymous. It is highly confidential. The second thing that I want to touch on is that we have signed on, and we've always had that, a company health advisor that works with us. So HR departments, as one of our the people we have a consultant who is called CHA, or company health advisor. He has an office in the organization, and he helps us manage some of these things. One of the key things that we know can cause mental unwellness is stress. And so we talk about how do we manage stress. Remember, Williams, when we were talking about some of these things recently, you talked about leave and the fact that you guys even pay leave allowance or whatever it is. Yeah. allowing or enforcing leave, for instance, getting people to go on leave to manage that stress. And then now flexible policy has come in where you could work from home some of the days so that you are not that stressed. Then remember when we talked about inclusivity. One key thing is that when you feel a sense of belonging, you are not that stressed. You are happy.
Yes,
You love to be there. The workplace is like a family place for you. You love to come there. Your opinions are heard. You are valued.
that's true.
Then every year we have a CHA on his
Mm,
work plan to give us every quarter. There is going to be a health talk, and some of the health talks are around mental wellness, for instance. What are some of the things we should be doing to avoid that? Reminding people to take care of themselves. And then one key thing
mm,
is for line managers to have a check-in with
yeah.
their people. Sometimes you may not provide a solution to the problem that I may be bringing from home, but the mere fact that you listened to
Yeah.
me and you heard me out, it calmed me.
Yeah.
You understand? And so some of these things are things that
That's
should
true.
be deliberately done. And so
Mm,
benefits regarding mental wellness, um, minimizing stress, having flexible working policies, having health talks, constant
mm,
reminders to employees to take care of themselves, and having check-ins with
yeah.
your people, coupled with all the health benefits that Williams described. When you
Mm,
marry these two together, I think
mm,
you'll be able to minimize the mental unwellness that sometimes besiege or
yeah.
Yeah.
plague some of our people at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. I think last week we also had a talk in my office about mental wellness, and I've come to realize that the facilitator said something. He said that nobody nobody should say that um I'm not able to cope with life, because he explained mental wellness as the inability of people being able to cope with life. And when people are not able to cope with life, then there's a lot of imbalance which causes mental unwellness. And it made so much sense to me, because nobody will go to the hospital and say that, doctor, I'm not able to cope with life. But some of these things that you HRs are putting in place is helping people to cope with life. And I dare say, in this recent time, I mean, computer, we have known that we have produced even more data in a year than we have accumulated data in years past. And this shows that people are dealing with so many things at once. Technology has made things so available to us. We see people, you know how people can even get act over things on social media. People get bothered with things, people doing things on social media, and becomes a whole buhaha in the system. And your ability to even cope with these things is a big deal. So, I mean, HR Day, big kudos to you HRs out there who are really putting in much effort when it comes to mental wellness, because it's something that sometimes we overlook, but it's really, really a big deal. So kudos to you, Williams. Kudos to you, Mercy. You are doing well, and kudos to anyone who has also prioritized the mental wellness of their employees. Kudos to you, and thank you for all that you do. Now, what about um, work-life balance? You know, businesses need to meet their targets. They need to meet the bottom line. Profit has to be made, and workers too want. They also want to be satisfied. So, as an HR, how do you bridge that gap between meeting the business's objectives and also satisfying the needs of your employees? William, did you get me?
Yeah. I think you were breaking a bit. So
Okay.
if I had, yeah.
So I was saying that, how do we bridge the gap between meeting the objectives of the business and also satisfying the needs of employees to bring about work-life balance?
Okay. So thank you, Kamina. So um, employee work-life balance is become a very critical issue of late. All because, yes, we are saying we get stressed out. I'm not exceptional. All of us are employees, so we talk and then we
Yeah.
talk for ourselves as well, So, how do we satisfy that, and as well as ensure the bottom line is not affected? So it comes back to the conversation we have every year. This is the objective, this is the strategic objective and direction of the business, and everybody is at the table. The discussions are held, and then the targets are set. And so, once the targets are set, what do we do in HR? We ensure we need to achieve these targets in line with our existing policies. If there needs to be a change in the policy, that is where we need to talk about it and say, okay, this target would require maybe extra hands because the existing hands cannot handle all that. It will put a lot of stress. But even if you're going to do that, it means you need to give people, spread them out, bring in job rotations, so that you can actually spread the stress, so that one person does not soak all the stress at the end of the day. So because of that, we have had lots of discussions where people can work from home. I remember during the COVID time, we needed to still do work because flights were coming in to bring a lot of things to Ghana. So our employees were on the field, first line. How do you cope with that? We needed to come out with programs, itinerary to say that yes, at this point in time, these people will be in the office, the others are going to be home, and then whilst you are home, these are the things that we'll have to do. At this time of the day, these guys are going to be going off. We have to make sure they are provided with food. We have to make sure the transport team is around. We have to make sure there is internet wherever you are working from, so that you can also, if you have to send something, you can adequately send that. So we have made these provisions to ensure that in as much as within your work scope, you need to provide that data and be relevant to that conversation. You have given some information, so you have the tool to do it. You have your laptop, or you have given a mobile phone, you have your data every month you are given, and then make sure that when these things are needed, you can supply them without any delay. So we have made that we have given that flexibility from the top, from to the directors, to managers, across those who have to go and inspect airplanes that are landing. We make sure that we have made those kind of provisions so that their work will be very much flexible, and then irrespective of what is happening, the bottom line will also not be affected. Hello, Kabina.
I think you're muted.
I was muted. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bessie, let's hear from you on this.
Okay, so I think HR has moved away from counting time to counting work. And so sometimes you're expecting to see me at 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock, and I'll come and sit down from 8 to 5. And as you said, I do next to nothing, and you think you're happy with me. No, we have moved away. Now we count to work. So what do we do? Back to what William said, there is a performance goal agreed between direct report and line manager at the beginning of every year, based on the strategic direction from the organization. This is the strategy for this year. Based on this strategy, this is what we are all chasing. And as an individual employee in the organization, this is what has been crafted for me to do. Now, how do I do what has been crafted for me in a less stressful manner, in a flexible way, and yet bottom line is achieved? And so this is where line managers, HRV, all come in, where I'm not going to insist that come in at 8 and leave at 5. I'm going to insist that what you are supposed to do today is what you do. And with the Gen Zs and the Gen Ys and whatever the gens we have, some of these young men they are very smart, they are very intelligent, but let them feel free. And when you give them that freedom, they get their sanity in check, they are happy, and they deliver. And so for me, the summary is just simple. Let's have a a robust performance management cycle in place. Let us, at the beginning of every year, agree on what we are all chasing, and give me the flexibility
Mm-hmm.
to bring on board what I have to do in a relaxed manner. So for me, I won't count time, I will count work. And it has been working
Mm.
beautifully for me. We tend to achieve what we have to achieve, and um, we get what we should get.
Mm. Great, great. I like how you ended it. HR has moved from counting time to count work. And Gen Zs, if I have any Gen Zs listening, we want to also hear from you. What do you think of what Mercy is saying? To give you the freedom and you'll be creative. Is that what you're getting where you're working? Do you need more of it? Is that really what it is? And I mean, we have also done research on how to manage and retain Gen Zs and why in today's workspace. You can visit our website, that's phrglobal.com. The research is available. This is a Ghanaian based research. We spoke to Ghanaians. You know, the HR Certification Center has been running this national HR mentorship where we train people, we mentor people for the HR space, for corporate life. And we've done 4 successive cohorts, and these are people we engaged and they gave us feedback. We went to the offices, we had focus group discussions. So this is a very authentic and revealing and telling on the Ghanaian space or the Ghanaian worker. So you can have access to it. Just visit our website, phrglobal.com, and you have all the information right there. Let me take the last question and then we'll go to the comment box. Technology is doing everything now. And now we have artificial intelligence. Technology is going high. You know, I got interested in artificial intelligence. I've been reading about it, and I thought that artificial intelligence just ended at machines now doing automated things. I just read that technology, I mean, research has moved so deep that now they are creating artificial intelligence to have emotional connections. So really, it seems as though very soon there are a lot of things that we have been used to, a lot of automated things in our workspaces that might eventually be taken over by artificial intelligence and technology. So, in the wake of such things, how can HR create a sustainable work environment for both the employer and the employee? Let me start with Williams.
Okay, thank you, Kobina. So AI and tech has come to stay. And if you look at the trend of
Yeah.
how we have progressed from time past, it makes you, even if you look at the communication landscape, how things have changed over the time, you now realize that it's not going to end today. So we are moving at a certain speed. And therefore, HR also need
Mm,
to rethink and shape the way things are done. So with the advent of
yeah.
AI and technology, I think that from my perspective, we need to embrace it. We need to prepare our workforce for it. And from the employer's end, um, if you people have come up with a lot of argument, but I think that if you are the type that want to have a certain quality and efficient work, you want to embrace it and also prepare your team for it for the future because it's not going to stop today. And I have always said that the
Mm,
existing staff we have currently, some of them have been in employment for over 20, 30 years, way before some of these things kicked in. So sometimes
mm,
shifting their mindset onto AI and tech to now embrace it and work with it is difficult. So we have to, continue to train them, retrain. But I made a point the other time that because of this kind of shift, what that
mm,
means that if I'm going to go back into the labor market to look for people, I need to change my way of doing things. And what that means is that I'm going to now look for people who can really work with the AI. Because what is the AI churning out? AI now is making work very simple. It's now bringing out information, and I need people who can analyze, people who can take that
mm,
information and make some meaning out of it. So that should change the way I even do my recruitment. And that's how HR is now shifting into. You want people who can do analytics. and take the information from the AI and then the data they have all gathered and be able to make some meaning out of it. And so now the job requirements I have for the things probably in the 5 years, I have changed them. My JDs for certain roles in my workplace have changed because what used
Yeah.
to be the case in the past 5, 10 years have changed.
Mm.
And that is how things are changing. So it is actually
It
bringing
has.
me back into the stream
Yeah.
that now I need to prepare anyone I bring on board. I need to continuously train and then look out for the new trends and bring them on board and make sure they are relevant. Otherwise, my
Mm.
people will lose out. So, training
Yeah.
and development has become very key. Analytics in HR has become very key. And these are the things that once you get them right, it can really ensure that sustainability, employer employee sustainability of work is going to be really be there for us.
Mm, mm, Thank you for that. I heard very prominent what you're saying, training and retraining. Then it calls for higher budgets and things to be done differently, and also opening the minds of people to accept change as it comes. Thank you very much for that, Williams. Messi, let's hear your take on this.
I think William has said it all. Brilliant submission from William. We in Africa sometimes think that it will take a while for AI to catch up with us, but now is the time for us to start preparing. Now is the time for us to be as alert as something, because HR drives change, and so for it starts with us being prepared for this level of change. And so as we speak now, how are we taking decisions with data? How are we
Mm,
analyzing trends? And
mm,
AI will help us be able to do this more effectively than probably we are doing now. At the
that's true.
same time, some people might say that it means that monotonous jobs will go away. It
Mm,
means that some people may end up not having work to do. But this is the time for us to start thinking about what to do with
yes.
these individuals. How are we, back to William, training and retraining them for them to work at a more strategic level than just being implementers? And
Mm,
so it's still a new area, and we have to be ready for it. So we must prepare now. At the same time, I'm also thinking about the employer, the bottom line, and thinking about things such as leveraging AI to probably curb electricity consumption. For instance, um, are we going to focus on solar? Are we going
mhm,
to go paperless? Things such as water conservation, you know, things like this. So we must start an awareness campaign where everybody appreciates that we are
mm,
getting to a certain level where we'll be moving away from monotonous things to operating at a very high level using artificial intelligence and digitalization and all these things. And so we should be ready for it. If you ask me today as an individual HR practitioner, am I ready? I'll be honest and tell you I'm not, but I'm happy
mm,
to start getting ready and getting everybody who works with me and around me ready so that we get to that level where we leverage AI to make informed decisions, to analyze trends, and to operate at a more strategic level than we are doing now.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Messi. I'm learning from you that the advent of HR is not a bane. HR is more a
A-
friend than an enemy. If only we
AI.
would learn. If only we would learn
Exactly.
and appreciate
Exactly.
the changes bringing on board. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. So let me go to the
Mm.
comment section. I have this coming from Sandra. I'm loving this webinar. People will indeed give their best if they feel included and valued. And she says, Mr. Techi, you're a great boss. Happy HR Day. Kudos to you, Mr. Techi. Lucy says, there is a lot of talk about toxic work environments. I just want to hear what our speakers have to say about that. Please, who's going to take this? Any of you, anyone who want to take
Yeah.
this?
And okay. I'm happy
Toxic
to
work
start.
environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes you can have a work
Sure,
environment
that's
where
fine.
one, can I go ahead?
Yes, yes, Mercy.
Sometimes you can have this work environment where one or two people begin to get toxic and start going against management. So they sometimes you hear on the corridors whispers, and they are not bold enough to come up to management to share their opinion, or to probably call speak up if you have a challenge, or put in your word in surveys when they are rolled out. But you hear them trying to court people to come along with them. And my experience has taught me that some of these people would never resign and go, but they will try to lure people to probably get them to leave, or get them to say things against management, or spread false information and all that. Now, when things like that happen, it's very, very important for you to curb it as quickly as possible. Remember when I was making my submission about changing behaviors, or about changing a culture? Sometimes when you get a high toxicity in the workplace, you may have to change your culture. Um, um, how do you address it? For instance, be open about it, talk about it. For instance, in a town hall meeting, you can talk about the fact that through the grapevine we hear XYZ, and meet it headlong and address it. Or invite these individuals and have a conversation with them. I hear you have a problem with this. Can we talk? Make it open. Don't shy away from these things when you begin to see them coming, because culture is contagious. Toxicity can move into something else, and if you don't take care, it creates problems for you. So, yes, toxic work environment is bad. It destroys a lot of things. You shouldn't allow that to happen. You must handle it as soon as you see it rearing its head.
Right, right. Thank you very much. I think I'll give the next question then to Williams. I think we are gradually rallying against time, so let me give this one to Williams. He said Raymond is asking, how can HR personnel ensure that inclusiveness is ensured at the workplace, especially when the big men do not see the need for it?
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Governor.
Williams.
Yes, thank you. Um, so Raymond is saying, especially when the big men do not see the need for it. I
Yeah.
think it comes back to broader consultation and education. HR is at the table, and these things, you cannot fight. It's not a fight that you can, handle alone. You need to have a broader consultation from the CEO, from the board, and then ensure that at the strategic level, at least at my workplace, at the strategic level, these things are discussed. Because if inclusivity and diversity are not going to be respected, and therefore, which can also have develop itself into toxic, like Messi mentioned, it can really breed itself into becoming toxic. Because one thing with culture and is that when people come together with all these diversified ideas, backgrounds, ethnicity, and everything, and they come together in the workplace and they form into teams, new things are developed, new cultures erupt. So if you don't engage them and then begin to make sure that they are guided by the principles and policies of the organization, you are likely to fight a huge battle. So I think that you need to go back to top management and then engage, have presentations, engage them further, and explain the benefits and then the negatives. If you don't have it, if you don't probably pay attention to this, if you don't lead it and show management commitment, what is likely to happen? And so I'm sure these things, sometimes when it gets to a certain point, you need to even bring in labor experts, because there are people who probably can convince your top level, because you think that you are a small man. You want to get extra support from, I know, the HR team. We have Ghana
Yeah.
Employers Association. If you're an employer, other
Colleagues
experts are
and all
there.
that.
Exactly, colleagues, and then you can bring in the board, and then make sure that you can get your message across to your leadership. Because without management commitment, you can never get it done.
Mm, mm. Great. Engagement is really the key. Engagement is very important in these things. Okay, Raymond, I hope your question was answered. Right, so let's go on. Okay, I have this from Adam. Adam says hashtag HRCC Happy International HR Day. I have Happy says hi, and Happy again says Happy HR Day. Adam says, wow, I have really learned a lot, especially diversity and inclusiveness in an organization. Sandra says, we are appreciative of the medical benefit at GCAA. As Ghana Civil, Ghana, Williams, help me.
Ghana Civil Aviation
It
Authority.
was Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. Ghana Civil Aviation.
That's right.
Right. So Clement says, Happy International HR Day to all HR professionals. Great discussion here. I would suggest this shouldn't end here, but continue in our daily basis in order to minimize the topic of mental and emotional issues. That's a good one right there. We also hope you forward it and you push this agenda. Martha says the employee is their responsibilities. Kudos to your team, Mr. Techi. I have this from Clement says, kudos to the management of GCAA for the good job done during the COVID-19 pandemic season for their employees. I have this coming from Adam again. Say, wow, counting work. Yes, counting time, moving from counting time to counting work. This is beautiful. Every HR department must adopt counting work. This comes from Eric Adu. Happy International HR Day. This program is very significant in the contemporary diversified workspace. Kudos to HR Certification Center. And I have a long one coming in. Creativity flourishes outside of limits. So once we are not boxed into a forced schedule with but we are allowed to bring all that we have to the table on our own terms, of course, with a fair consideration of what is required of us from our bosses. Always push to give the best back to our organizations. And clearly, we have a Gen Z making a comment right there. Right, Clara, thank you for that. Then we have Josephine here says, great submission by the facilitators are equal to HR practitioners. And I have this from Clement I. It's hilarious how some companies expect their employees to grow without training them and promoting them as well. There is no clear-cut distinction on career path. A question to the facilitators is, what have they developed for employees' growth with respect to training and career path? I think these things, Mercy and Williams have already touched on them. So let's go to the next. Martha Odai says analytics in HR is key for employer and employee sustainability. Mr. Techi, I'm loving this. Very informative. I'm learning a lot. Happy International HR Day. Then this one is coming from Raymond. Thanks, Mr. Techi. Perfectly answered. I'm grateful. And Adam has a question. He says, how does gender apply in inclusiveness? How does gender apply in inclusiveness? Please, who would like to take this? Who would like to take this?
Any of us?
Yes, any of you. Yes.
Messi will go first, and then I'll come in.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll go back to my party and dance analogy.
Mm.
See, when it comes to diversity bringing on board. So, okay, let me start by saying that the workplace is a representation of society where everything is in there. Religious background, age, ethnicity, everything is in there. Now, inclusiveness has to do with allowing all the various groups, various orientations, various backgrounds that have come on board to be heard, to be included. And so gender, you've called out that for this organization you must have a 50% women, 50% men, or whatever it is that you've called out. Once you have the appropriate gender in place. You have who you want to have, no matter what the gender is, allow them to be heard. And so it's not only about gender, it's about any other orientation, it's about any background, whoever the individual is. Once you have them working with you, they must be included, they must belong, they must be heard, they must be valued.
Right. Thank you very much. Whatever gender you have, they must be included, they must be heard, and they must be valued. Okay,
That's
Williams,
right.
let's take it from you too.
Yeah, so I think to take it from where Mercy ended, um, so we need to have a very good balance of this kind of conversation. I know most organizations have deliberate policies to drive um, this whole inclusiveness of gender, and I think it is good. I was having a conversation with someone and said um, we need to, if you look at the men population and the women population, how many of us are in the labor market? And so probably we need to look at it from the perspective that if you look at the labor market and it is all men, for example, and then you don't have backup, your men as backup are not enough. How do you then fill in, with the rest of the labor force, which is your other gender? So you need to ensure that organizations take deliberate actions to ensure that the other one is not missing out. A proper mix, so that there's no intimidation and there is no, bickering around, saying that why have you hired these people? You want to make sure that you have a good balance going into the future, because that's what you're supposed to do, such that there's this sustainability of the business. If it is all one-sided, and at the end of the day you cannot go to the markets, you cannot find labor force for your workforce, I mean, what do you do? There have been a lot of arguments about this deliberate action as well, that it is also becoming too much. It is swinging too much on the side of the women. With time, the
Yeah.
men may also lose it. But that's why I called out that we need to have a balanced conversation around this whole gender thing. But I think inclusiveness, like Mercy said, we need to value everyone in the workplace, and that's what we do. Whether you are a man or a woman, a little boy or a giant, we value everyone. Whether you are from the north or from the south, everyone is valued because everyone is making a contribution to the business.
Right. Thank you very much. So, to all who have joined, this is the HR Roundtable, proudly brought to you by the HR Certification Center. And the HR Certification Center is focused on human resource and leadership development in Ghana and across Africa. And the HR Roundtable has been running for close to a year now, and we are seeking to bring authoritative direction HR related matters. Boldly say that we are the most authoritative HR chat room right now online in Ghana, and we seek to take over Africa, and the world is just our starting point. So yes, thank you very much for joining. We've loved the conversation, we've loved your comments, and to our speakers, Williams and Mercy, you have been so amazing. I liked how you have brought your personal experiences to bear, and I mean, telling from the comments, everyone is happy and everyone has learned. Daniel just said, great submission. Happy International HR Day to all HR practitioners out there. We are happy to have you. We are happy to have you, Williams and Mercy, to have spoken to us on this August occasion of International HR Day. Normally, our HR roundtables span for an hour exactly, but because today is a special day, which is the International HR Day, we have given some more minutes to celebrate HRs. But before we round up, I would like to take your closing remarks from Mercy and Williams to all HRs out there. So as you prepare to do that, I want to make an announcement. On Thursday, I promised our audience at another HR roundtable engagement that we're going to make a special announcement today. We've been having this conversation. We have and data and chunks of recordings, which we've had in our possession, and so we have moved them to audio, and we have opened a podcast. So you can visit SoundCloud and look for HR Certification Center. You know how we spell our center, CENTRE. So you can go on SoundCloud. You have all our discussions right there. You can listen on your way to work, you can listen on your way home. Very insightful discussions. And I know that they are going to bless you and they're going to help you all become better HR. So please follow us on SoundCloud, get to listen to our podcast, leave a comment, and let's keep interactive. I mean, let's keep interacting. If you have any questions, any topic that you think that the HR Roundtable should pick up and speak to it, just let us know. Drop us a comment, drop us a message on our social media platforms, or you can even send me a mail, kwabena@phrglobal.com, and we'll certainly get our practitioners to speak on such issues and offer that direction to them. So now I'll certainly start with the lady first to give us our closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Kwabena. To my HR colleagues out there, I dare say that we are doing a great job. We have really come far. We have moved away from the catch and punish days to coach and develop. And we are now moving towards what we call the employee experience. The way your employee experiences you determines what he also brings on board to the organization. So let us move towards allowing employees to live their experience, to enjoy working with us whilst living their experience, what they want to experience with us, so long as it is not illegal. Let them live it. Let them experience what they want to experience. And an engaged workforce will definitely help you get a kind of bottom line that you'll be so proud about. So, to my colleagues out there, we are doing a great job, and let's continue to do what we know best. Allow people to experience what they want to experience based on their orientations and their various backgrounds, and they also deliver their best. Thank you for this great opportunity.
Thank you too, Mercy. Thank you too. Williams, let's hear from you.
Yeah, thank you, Kwabena, and thank you for your submission, Mercy. Um, so to my colleagues, people normally would say, who takes care of the HR person? We are the ones who are taking care of everyone, but who then takes care of us? My submission here is simple. Let us take very good care of ourselves. Things are changing. We need to look at the industry trend. Let us avail ourselves for new opportunities in terms of learning and development. Let us learn about the new things that are happening in the HR fraternity, and then apply it in our workplace. Let us connect and then talk about it. Let us share information. And I think that once we're doing this, the sky will be the limit. By saying that taking care of ourselves, I'm here. You know, HR is very stressful. I'm saying that we need to make sure we are taking conscious steps, making sure that our lives, first and foremost, are guided so that we live a very healthy life and be present every day for our teams. Happy HR Day to everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kwabena.
Great. Live a healthy life. Thank you to Williams. Live a healthy life and be present for your teams. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another great installment from the HR Certification Center, represented by the HR Roundtable. My name is Kwabena Nyamechedapa, and I've been your guest. I've been your host for today's interaction. Thank you very much for joining. Let's keep the conversation here. Let's share the link. You can share the link to your staff platforms, all your colleagues who need to hear this. Let's keep the conversation going until we create a better working space for you and your employees, and also definitely affect the bottom line for our employers. I've put out the link for our SoundCloud platform. You can just follow it and get access to all our installments over the years past. So thank you very much. And from us at the HR Certification Center, we say happy International HR Day, and let's make the workplace a better place than we found it. Bye for now and take care of yourself. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Are you an HR practitioner or a graduate in any field that wishes to become an HR practitioner? Professional certification is a demonstration of your competence, commitment to excellence, and higher professional standards. Getting certified as a professional in Human Resources International makes you recognized by employers and industry players as a competent professional with key expertise to respond to all key technical issues pertaining to people management for organizational growth. Take the next big step in your career and the Global Professional HR certification in 6 months. We can only physical and online options available. Contact the approved provider of the Global Professional HR certifications in Ghana, the HR Certification Center, to sign up. Call or WhatsApp for details 0244 822 855. The number again is 0244 822 855. You may visit www.phrglobal.com.